Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car videos each and every week. And what we do is we compile our top 5 in different categories towards the end of the year. This is our top 5 subcompact luxury utility vehicles. And we don't go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We choose 5. And why do we do that?
Yeah, everyone has different needs and wants. And what might work for one person may not work for another. We give pros and cons of each. And at the end, we do honorable mentions for those that didn't quite make the list, but are also great options. Let's get started. Up first in alphabetical order is the Audi Q3. This is definitely the value leader. It offers a lot of standard features and it has 2 powertrain options.
Yeah, I suggest you probably go for the more powerful unit. It's a little bit more expensive, but not too expensive. And speaking of the engine, that's one of the strong points of this. If you look at what the engine actually is, it's the last generation Volkswagen GTI engine. And because that engine was meant to run into GTI, it's calibrated to run on regular gas. So that's a selling feature for this Q3. Back to the value story, the engine is part of that as well. Good power on regular gas.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. The fact that you can put regular fuel in this is incredible because all the others on our list require premium fuel. Plenty of space really for this subcompact class. The only thing that it's lacking is some rear legroom compared to others in this class. And I find the steering to be a little light and there's a tiny bit of turbo lag. But otherwise, I think it's a great all-rounder.
Yeah, and we're going to get into the pricing in just a moment, and it really is a value leader. Now, on the interior dash, a negative is the use of a lot of shiny hard plastic or piano black, and it does kind of cheapen it, and you can see its Volkswagen roots. It's based on the short wheelbase Tiguan that's sold in Europe, but you have to factor all of that into what it costs. And the reason it made this list is you get a German vehicle from a prestige brand with a fuel-efficient and regular gas engine, and it does a good job on most things.
Yeah, it does a lot right. And I go back to saying that features compared to the price point, it offers a lot of value. Let's get into the powertrains. The base engine is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with an 8-speed automatic transmission, 184 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque. The more powerful 45 TFSI has the same turbocharged 4-cylinder, but 228 horsepower and 251 pound-feet of torque. J.D. Power gives the Q3 a reliability score of 76 out of 100.
Here's the price spread in Canada, and we'll do the United States in just a second. The base model starts at $44,500, and the most expensive model is just under $54,000. In the United States, the base model is $37,000, and the most expensive model is just over $42,000. Here's the fuel economy for the base engine. 10.7 liters per 100 kilometers city, 8.1 on the highway. That's 22 miles per gallon city, 29 miles per gallon highway. The more powerful engine is rated at 11.5 liters per 100 kilometers city, 8.5 on the highway. That's 20 miles per gallon city, 28 miles per gallon highway.
Up next is the BMW X1, and I gotta say, it's one of my favorites in this class for its engaging drive. It's actually quite fun, and I like all the added features that BMW has taken care of in this new model. The previous model didn't have as many features, and boy, it was kind of loud. This is much quieter.
Yeah, it's quieter. The other thing is this is one of the newest of the bunch, so you're getting all the latest stuff. You also have to remember that BMW owns Mini, and they use this same platform for the Countryman. And BMW and Mini, both companies are really focused on driving, handling, and dynamics. And that shows when you drive this BMW X1. It's got good power. It runs on premium fuel. Andrea mentioned all the rest of them do. But boy, it is a load of fun to toss around. You can zip it in and out of traffic, and it's comfortable too.
And I think it looks good as well. BMW did a nice job with the exterior design. It now has non-run flat tires. So that is a good thing for some who didn't like the noise level of those run flat tires. The thing is, I would put this as a con, although it has all the new technology and a new operating system. Everything is done in the screen now, and that takes some getting used to. It's not difficult, but we always say that we would prefer some knobs and buttons, and there's also a new toggle shifter, which, yeah, takes some getting used to.
So some BMW utilities still have physical keys and the iDrive system. Think of the X3 and the X5. They kept it in that, and they haven't done that for the X1. But as Andrew mentioned, you can get used to most things. All right, let's get into the specs of this thing.
The base engine is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, 241 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. The M35i with a more powerful turbocharged 4-cylinder, 312 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, standard all-wheel drive. J.D. Power gives the X1 a reliability score of 72 out of 100. You can see that this new model may not be as reliable as the older version.
Here's the pricing for Canada. We'll do the US in a second. The base model starts at just under $46,000 and the top trim is $57,500. In the United States, the base model is $40,500 and goes up to just under $50,000. Here's the fuel economy for the base engine. It's 9.6 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7 on the highway. That's 25 miles per gallon city, 34 miles per gallon highway. With the M35i engine, it's 10.1 liters per 100 kilometers city, 7.6 on the highway, 23 miles per gallon city, 31 miles per gallon highway.
Now, the X1 does run on premium fuel, but take a look at that base engine on the highway, 7 liters per 100 kilometers, 34 miles per gallon. I mean, that's pretty good for what you're getting from an X1.
Up next is the Cadillac XT4. This has been a favorite of ours for years, and it was just updated with some cosmetic changes on the outside, but a new interior. Now, we should say, Andrea, we haven't driven the new model. No. We've driven the old model, but the driveline is the same. The platform's the same. It's mostly cosmetics.
Well, when we had that vehicle for a week, that was the one I was getting in and out of all the time. I just kept choosing it over all of our personal vehicles that we have. It's terrific.
The fleet.
It's terrific. I mean, it just handles so well, and it is a fun one to drive. It's not a huge vehicle, so it makes it super easy to maneuver in the city. One of our biggest complaints about the XT4 was the old interior, and they've taken care of that with that 33-inch display, which we first saw in the Escalade.
Yeah, it's migrating through the Cadillac fleet. Lyric as well. We've used that recently. And it does take a little while to get used to, but I would say General Motors infotainment systems, whether it's Buick, Cadillac, Chevrolet, General Motors, whatever it is, GMC I should say, they're so simple.
Yeah.
And you learn it quickly. So I think that these are definitely upgrades that needed to be done, and that's why it's still on our list.
And I really like that there are different interior color options available. Sometimes when you go with a nice saddle brown interior or a lighter color, it kind of gives it a more upscale look than just black. The XT4 has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a 9-speed automatic transmission, 235 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options are available. J.D. Power gives the Cadillac XT4 an impressive score of 85 out of 100 for reliability.
Here's the pricing in Canada. We'll do the US in a second. The base model starts at just under $45,000 and goes up to $52,000. In the United States, the base model is just $39,000 and goes up to $45,500. Here's the fuel economy, 10.4 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 8.4 on the highway. That's 23 miles per gallon city, 28 miles per gallon highway.
Up next in alphabetical order, you kind of get a bonus here because they are based on the same platform. It's the Mercedes-Benz GLA and GLB.
So very minor tweaks for 2024. They've added a mild hybrid system. Don't think like a Toyota RAV4 hybrid. It's not like that. It's just a mild auto start stop feature they add for improved fuel economy.
Yeah, and we should see some improvements, of course, with fuel economy. There's going to be some exterior tweaks, some updates to the technology. The GLA is a great option. I wouldn't say it's the most exciting of the lot to drive, but it does a lot well. One thing it is lacking is cargo space, but it gets some good second row legroom. The GLB is a different story. It has the option of a third row and that boxy design. Some don't love it, but boy, does it ever provide some good space.
I would say last year, we didn't drive it this year. Maybe it was at the very beginning of the year. We had the GLB AMG 35. Oh boy, I just fell in love with that thing. The boxy shape I like. I think it's very cool. It's different than everything else.
Yeah.
And man, that thing hustled down the road. It reminded me of a Mini Countryman, but bigger. So if you like small and agile, then the GLA might be right for you. But if you need the space, that GLB is fantastic.
And the great thing about Mercedes-Benz with these two models is there's so many powertrain options. If you want to get the base model, you know, because you want a more budget-friendly vehicle, you want something that's more powerful, go for the AMG 35 or 45. And the GLB, we had a load of fun with that one. The infotainment is also the older system, which we prefer. And also the GLB, there's also an EQB, so you can get a pure EV if you want. The GLA and GLB base engine is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 221 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. There's also AMG models, the GLA and GLB 35 with 302 horsepower and the GLA 45 with 382 horsepower. If you're interested in the pure EV, go for the EQB 350 with 288 horsepower and 356 kilometers, 221 miles of range. In the US, there are 2 more electric models, the EQB 250 Plus and the EQB 300. J.D. Power gives the GLA a reliability score of 79 out of 100 and the GLB a little bit better, 80 out of 100.
Here's the pricing for both models in Canada. We'll do the United States next. The cheapest model is the base model GLA, and it starts at $45,000. The most expensive model is the EQB. That's the electric version of the GLB, and it's just under $76,000. Here's the pricing in the United States for GLA and GLB. The cheapest model is the base GLA, and it starts at $40,500. And the most expensive model is also the EQB at $64,500. Here's the GLA fuel economy for the base engine. 10.3 liters per 100 kilometers city, 7.3 on the highway. That's 23 miles per gallon city, 32 miles per gallon highway. The base GLB is rated at 10.7 liters per 100 kilometers city, 7.9 on the highway. That's 22 miles per gallon city, 30 miles per gallon highway.
Stay tuned for our honorable mentions after our last pick in alphabetical order. It goes to the Volvo XC40.
So the XC40 is probably the granddaddy of this group. It's been around for a long time and they haven't made a lot of change. Well, they have done minor changes to it, but if you saw the first one and you saw this one, you really wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But you know what? That's one of the positives with this Scandinavian luxury brand is that they have impeccable design that ages well in the marketplace. This vehicle on the outside is very handsome and the inside is clean and simple and sophisticated, and it's held up.
I think it has one of the better interiors in this class. Volvo, you know, really prides itself on making a luxurious interior. You usually have different color combos available, and there isn't a lot of hard plastic. Of course, they've got the Google Android Automotive System, which some like, some don't. I always say, I have a few people say to me, I think Google listens. Well, I can tell you, they definitely listen.
Well,
I find it a simple system to use.
Well, it is meant to listen because you're supposed to give it voice commands. And the thing is that this new Google Automotive is integrated into the systems of the car, so you can use the voice commands to open the sunroof and do different things. Now, this is also available as a full electric vehicle. So if that's your thing, styling on the outside, same thing. You wouldn't be able to notice much of a difference between the regular gas model and the electric. And that's the nice thing about a good design.
And I also love all the clever storage solutions that Volvo
the
provides.
Garbage can?
Yeah.
The garbage can's cool.
They just know how to do it right, that Scandinavian design. Some cons, well, Volvo has eliminated the B4 powertrain, so it's just B5 for that gas model now. And it is the most expensive base model in this whole group. So that is something to consider. The prices have gone up a little bit. I still think that it is a great vehicle. Reliability for the Volvo isn't that great. We're going to get into the J.D. Power scores. The B5 powertrain is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with an 8-speed automatic transmission and a 48-volt mild hybrid system, 247 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, standard all-wheel drive. The pure electric version, the Recharge, is offered offered in a rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive model with up to 472 kilometers, 293 miles of range, and up to 402 horsepower. J.D. Power gives the Volvo XC40 a score of 72 out of 100, which is similar to the BMW X1.
Here's the price range in Canada. We'll show the US in a second. The base model starts at just under $50,000. And the all-wheel drive Recharge Ultimate is $78,000. In the United States, the base model is $41,500. And the most expensive all-wheel drive electric version is almost $62,000. Here's the fuel economy for the B5, 9.9 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7.8 on the highway. That's 24 miles per gallon city, 30 miles per gallon highway.
So there's our list. Type below. Let us know what you think. Tell us what your top pick is. And you might notice that the Lexus NX isn't in here, even though it is a smaller vehicle. It does fall in the compact class, not subcompact.
Yeah, it's one class bigger. Now, speaking of Lexus, it might be in our honorable mentions.
And it is. The UX is a hybrid, and only a hybrid. It gets excellent fuel economy. The cabin is quiet and comfortable and has a reasonable starting price under 46,000 Canadian, 37,000 in the US for a hybrid. The biggest con of the UX is its size. It's small. Rear seat legroom and cargo space are not going to work for everyone, but maybe it will be just enough because the fuel economy is so good. 5.7 liters per 100 kilometers, 41 miles per gallon in the city, and 6.2 liters per 100 kilometers, 38 miles per gallon on the highway. J.D. Power gives the UX a good reliability score of 81 out of 100.
And our last honorable mention goes to the Mini Countryman. And the reason why the Countryman is not in our top 5 is it doesn't come with a lot of features that you get in the BMW X1. There's a new Countryman coming for 2025. It's going to be larger with 2 gas engines, and there's even an electric version. Now, the current model for 2024, there are a variety of powertrains from a 1.5-liter turbo 3-cylinder, a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, a plug-in hybrid with just 29 kilometers or 17 miles of range, and horsepower ranges from just 134 horsepower to 189. There's also the one I like, the John Cooper Works with 301 horsepower. It's fun and engaging to drive. Now, all of these vehicles have a great seating position, but it is missing features, and the price does get quite steep. J.D. Power gives the Countryman an impressive reliability score of 83 out of 100. What's interesting to me, Andrea, is that the J.D. Power Reliability Champ, so that's following vehicles for 3 years of ownership. The Champ is the Cadillac, and a lot of people wouldn't think that, but if you look at the quality scores from Cadillac over the last several years, they've indexed well above the industry average.
I know, and some won't believe it, or they'll say, oh,
it's bought and paid for.
I know, but it is not bought and paid for, and it's interesting. J.D. Power follows these people, and they ask a lot of in-depth information. My mom is a perfect example of that. She has a Tucson plug-in hybrid. They contacted her. They want to follow her along. She said to me, what is with this? Do I need to fill out all this stuff? And I said, it's actually really important, Mom, because you like your Tucson, and it will bump the Hyundai reliability score if you do it.
So there you go. They actually follow real cars and real people. So that's our top 5 and a couple of extras. What do you think of that list? Type below. People love to give us their comments on which one they would choose. And what else do they have to do, Andrea?
Well, you got to subscribe, hit that notification bell. We put out a lot of content each week and you'll be notified. And also follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. I give a sneak peek of what's coming up on the channel each week.
We'll see you in the next one.
See you next time.